Hi, and welcome back to Beyond Profit, a global perspective. Every now and then I get a call from someone in the media or maybe a student who wants to talk about celebrity politics. And obviously that's something I've done some research on. And so every now and then I like to share some of the conversations that I have. And so I'm going to show you my side of the conversation anyway on a subject which has to do with the history of celebrity endorsements of candidates in the United States. So let's check it out. As usual, I want to remind you to please like and subscribe and share these videos if they're things that you enjoy. And now, let's talk a little bit about celebrity politics. First endorsement that I know of by a celebrity back in the 20th century is 1920. Al Jolson endorsed Warren Harding for president. And it wasn't like he was doing it out of the goodness of his heart. Basically, it was sort of like the early days of advertising. And this guy just, they contacted him, an ad agency, and he said, hey, would you sing this song for the president, or for this candidate for president? And he's like, yeah, sure. So he got paid. Whether or not it made any difference at all, I don't think there's any data on that. And this kind of thing has happened a couple of times since then, right? At least prior to modern times. Frank Sinatra endorsed FDR, eventually endorsed Kennedy. But we really don't have a lot of endorsements by other major figures during most of the 20th century. And there are several reasons for that. One is that most actors, musicians, athletes, they had morality clauses built into their contracts, which is just sort of like a fancy way of saying that, like, if you say something that's against the interest of the business, of the studio, or whoever's supporting you, then we could drop you, we could blackball you. And so it was kind of built in that they weren't going to go out and say anything. And that really started to change in the 1960s. So, the Beatles sort of like got so famous and rich, like Sinatra, that they had the independence to sort of like say and do things that challenged the industry. And so whereas they weren't making candidate endorsements as much, they sort of built a space where musicians could feel freer to do that, and the industry had a more understanding view of that. Plus, just the way that musicians were sort of perceived in the 1960s, they were sort of seen as kind of these maverick, crazy people, and it just became sort of a new norm. It was sort of tolerated in a different way. And then you have actors, really from the late 1960s onward, who are sort of given a free agency with the studio system changed, and again, sort of their contracts sort of lightened up. It really has never lightened up with athletes, and part of that is because they play in monopolistic sports. If you're not in this league, then you're not going to be in any league that's substantial from a professional standpoint, and it means that they have a really strong hold on them. If you have somebody like, say, Colin Kaepernick come out and take a knee for Black Lives Matter, then that guy's blackballed. He's not playing for the 49ers anymore. I know this gets a little bit off the track of celebrity endorsements of candidates, which is sort of the focus, but it's important to understand that it's kind of a new phenomenon that this is happening, and part of it is financial, part of it has to do with the business and the industry, and they're changing attitudes to what is permissive. And so now actors and musicians can pretty freely express themselves, including making those kinds of endorsements, whereas athletes maybe not so much. And so, yeah, we have had quite a few more endorsements. There were musicians and actors supporting George McGovern in 1972. The Allman Brothers supported Jimmy Carter in 1976. I think Sinatra actually flipped to support Reagan in 1980. So, I mean, they start making endorsements more over time. And so it's been around for a while. I would say that the key elements that really have accelerated that really have to do with the change in the 24-hour news cycle that was brought on by cable news. Really got saturation in the 1990s, plus the internet, plus social media eventually, right? So now you have a media that's desperate to fill time, and they're going to fill the time with any way they can, and the competition is so intense, they're just hoping for clickbait, right? They just want to get something that's going to get people to pay attention. And that's not to say that they aren't, sharing good news and doing good journalistic work. It's just that, hey, if you can attach the celebrity to a story, then people are going to be more likely to pay attention. And so as a result, there's been more demand for celebrities to come out and speak politically, and this of course includes these endorsements too. So, I don't know. There are obviously some other celebrities who've endorsed people over the years. You have Oprah Winfrey endorsing Barack Obama. Taylor Swift has been in there a couple of times around, and at that point you just start losing track because it's happening all the time.